Welcome back to Tina's Hideaway. Today it's a nice cool fall-like feeling day, and we're going to be harvesting our honey. It's the weekend before Labor Day. I want to make sure I get everything off the hives so that we can start feeding for winter and hopefully get a chance to have our bees do really well over the winter. So let's get started. All right, so I have all AutoFrames on all 4 of my hives. And what's really cool about these is when you can look inside the side window to see how the bees are doing. So if you look here, I can just turn the knobs and pull this cover off and you can see all the bees working, which with a traditional hive, you don't always get a chance to see that. So this is just kind of fun to watch throughout the summer, but there is a lot of bees in there. And then we just can put that back on. We can come around to the side here. And you can see I'm already started. I've got the first 2 hives started. I do have my bee jacket on only because earlier, a couple weeks ago, that first hive was quite aggressive. So as I'm opening them up, I am making sure I'm suited up, making sure that they can't sting me because I don't feel like having the rest of the weekend with a bee sting. So here I'm going to show you the process of what I do to get these going. And I'll tell you a little bit about some of the mistakes I've made in the past couple years. All 4 of these hives are first year hives, so they all were new packages in spring. So I don't know how much honey I'm going to get total. We did get 12 pounds a couple weeks ago out of the first hive. The rest of them weren't quite ready yet. But the first step we got to do is take the different covers off. So this top one here is what is covering the slots or the caps for using the keyway to open up these AutoFrames. And then here we got a couple bees, and this is why I suit up to do this, because you never know what kind of mood they're going to be in. So I typically, when I'm harvesting, I'll do every other frame because it just makes it a little easier for when you got to switch out bottles. So I have 3 on that one, so I'll do 4 on this one. Having a pliers handy is going to be very helpful because sometimes these caps, you know, the bees have them kind of sealed in there. So if you have a little pliers, it just works really, really well. And then have your little tubes that come with them ready. So I just pull this off. It's really good to have a little Tupperware or something to put them in so you don't lose them, because you can get replacements, but it's much easier if you don't have to worry about that. So we put the tube in there. And then we have to kind of line up how high our bottles are, which this is going to be about perfect. That's usually the hardest part, is getting the right height of your table, especially when you have uneven ground like what we have right here. Then I'm going to pull this top one out. I'll put it in there. I'll grab my key out of this one. So one of the mistakes I made the first year, you can see this key goes all the way in. So if I have it all the way in, I'm going to be opening all of the AutoFrame, the whole thing. Well, what would happen is all of a sudden we'd see honey dripping out from the bottom of the hive. And what can happen then is you could drown some of your bees. Worse, you could drown your queen. So the best thing to do is only open it part way and start that way. Once you see the honey flow slowing down going into the bottles, then you can put it in further and open up more of the frame. So I'm going to go about 1/4 of the way. And they have it pretty sealed up in there. So I just kind of do that a couple times. And oh, you can see it coming out already. So you can see the honey flowing out as soon as I crack those open. So that's kind of it, you know, and then just watch that flow, because you don't want it to come out too fast and run through the hive, because obviously we want that honey for ourselves. And then I'm going to just start working on the next one here. So I have 2 different types of bees this year. I have Carniolans in these first two hives, and then the second two hives are Italians. And this year, for some reason, my Italians seem very calm. They're not very aggressive. My Carniolans, I don't know, they seem a little bit more grumpy. The other tip I have for you is make sure you have a runner, somebody who can go run and get you stuff. So like I brought out 2 boxes of jars, but I'm going to be busy trying to switch out bottles and stuff as they fill up. So if you start getting to the point where you're getting low, have somebody handy where they can go and they can run and get the items you may need from inside. All right, if you see the first one on the left right here, the flow of the honey has really slowed down. So that tells me that that first part of that auto frame is drained out for the most part. So now I can stick that key in a little further and open it even a little more. So when you put this key in, you put it in on the bottom to open them up. There we go. And if you wanted to close them up, which sometimes I'll close them and reopen them just for the seal part of things. So now I just closed it. And here we're opening. So now that should help increase the flow of that honey a little bit more. So I'm going to do that with some of these other ones. Just make sure that I'm opening it up a little more. And then it may take a little bit because now we're opening up the ones that are further towards the front of the hive. So it's going to take a bit for them to drain and drain to the back of the hive. So these are also doing the same thing. So I want to open them up a little bit more. And I don't know if you can see the difference, but with these 2 hives, these bees are just so calm compared to what those first 2 are. And these ones I'm working on right now are Italians. All right. So now we'll just have to wait a little bit and see how that honey flow starts coming out. So how an auto frame works is you have all your cells and it's like this. So when I turn that key, what it's doing is it's shifting the cells and it's not hurting the bees. It doesn't do any harm to them. But when it shifts it like this, then that honey can just kind of flow out of there. And then when I close it, it brings it back like this and the bees will go to work cleaning it up. What I am going to do, because it is the end of the year, I'll probably harvest all the honey today. I'll leave the frames on overnight so that they can kind of clean them up a little bit, and I'll pull them off tomorrow. One of the things I haven't figured out yet, which I really want to, so if any of you guys have any ideas how to do this, please comment and let me know. There are cappings on the outside of these, on the sides of these auto frames, and I haven't figured out a good way yet to get those cappings off and utilize that, because they kind of are there. And it makes it a little deceiving to see if the honey is fully capped or if it's not when you're doing your inspections. Because just like with a traditional hive, you still have to do inspections just like you normally would, even though you have an auto frame. And you have to treat it the same way because you want to check for signs of that your queen is laying and everything else. Oh, and we have one that's really flowing fast over here. That one's a little full. But that's the thing when you're going to start doing so many of these, having second set of eyes to help with this is awesome. So that frame is obviously flowing really good, and we only opened it part way. One other thing I do is I always keep a little popsicle stick, because as you can see in this bottle right here, we got 2 wasps. I think both of them are wasps because they're coming here trying to rob this honey. But I'll use this to pull them out at the end. So we'll do, I'll take them out because this is raw, unfiltered honey. So what we're going to do, this process is going to take a couple hours to harvest all this honey. We'll come back at the end and I'll show you what we ended up with. All right, so we're about 5 hours into this process of harvesting our honey. So far I have 49 full bottles, so 49 pounds of honey. I still have, on that last one, I still have 1 frame I haven't even cracked open yet. And then this middle frame on this hive, I only have halfway done. So I'm getting quite a bit of honey so far out of these. So far, it looks like the Carniolans are definitely making more honey than the Italians overall. And these two hives are about even at this point, considering we took 12 pounds of honey a few weeks ago. One of the things I have noticed with these AutoFrames is when the flow of the honey coming out of the tube starts to slow down, just use that key, go into the top, close it, go into the bottom, open it. Go into the top, close it, go into the bottom and open it again. By doing that, it re-cracks those a little bit, and I ended up getting a couple more pounds of honey out of some of these frames. The one other thing I can give for advice is when you're doing multiple hives like this at one time, get a notebook, and if you want to mark down 7 frames, because there's 7 auto frames per hive, and then mark down what hive, but then mark which ones you're complete with, because all of a sudden I started moving the tubes over and starting new frames, and then I was like, which ones do I have done, which ones don't I? So I went inside, grabbed a notebook, and I started marking it down. It made it a lot easier to keep track of what um, where I'm at in the process and what frames are left to do. So we'll come back here in an hour or two and we'll let you know our grand total of honey for this year. All right, so here we are. It's almost 7 o'clock at night. I'm finally done. I got everything buttoned up on the hives, but we ended up with a total of 61 pounds today, for a total for the year of 73 pounds. The Carniolan's absolutely did better. They both, the first hive had 21 pounds, second one had 23 for the year, and then the Italians had 12 and 17. But even with the full 73 pounds of honey we got out of these hives this year, um, one of the things is I'm just barely even, I'm not even breaking even for the cost. Like I said, this spring I had to have all 4 new 3-pound packages. That was about 650 pounds or $650 worth of bees. I have about $150 in honey jars, plus the cost of feeding them sugar water. So that's part of the reason I utilize the beeswax from the hives and make sure that I use that to make some of my products that I sell to make it worthwhile. And so that's why it's even more important now that starting getting ready for winter, I do everything I can to make that these hives will survive the winter, because then I won't have to repurchase bees next year. Well, I hope you found this interesting today. Now I'm going to get this honey packed up and inside. You guys have a great one. Subscribe and like.